warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Adina Cimadani and I'm from class 4C with lesson ID number 136. And today I'm going to present articles related to English language learning, especially about speaking skills, listening skills, motivation, anxiety, and the use of technology in e-eval classroom. So now let's move to the article. So for the first article, challenges face students in speaking English in Indonesia. This article discusses the challenges faced by Indonesian e-eval students in speaking English. The study explains four main problems, namely mother tongue interference, limited vocabulary, low confidence, and low motivation. These factors make students afraid to speak English and reduce their communication skills. The benefit of this article is that teachers can better understand the physiological and linguistic barriers experienced by students. This understanding can help teachers create better teaching strategies. One strength of this article is its comprehensive literature review supported by several previous studies. However, the weakness is that this article does not include original field research, so the findings are still limited in practical application. The article connects to the next article because one way to solve students' confidence and motivation problems is by using interactive media such as TikTok. So, for the next article is having good speaking English through TikTok application. This article explains how TikTok can improve students' speaking skills. The study found that TikTok creates interactive and enjoyable learning activities that increase student confidence, creativity, and classroom participation. The benefit of this article is that it introduces social media as an innovative learning tool in English classroom. The strength of this study is the use of classroom action research with two learning cycles supported by observation and speaking test data. However, the weakness is that the research only involved 20 students from one institution. This article related to the next study because even though students become more confident through TikTok, many learners still experience speaking anxiety in the classroom. So let's move on to the next article. Next article is Student Speaking Anxiety in English Education Study Program. This article focuses on speaking anxiety among English education students. The study explained that students often feel nervous, afraid of making mistakes, and lack of self-confidence when speaking English in public. The benefit of this article is that it encourages teachers to create supportive learning environments and provides positive feedback to students. One strength of this study is the mixed methods approach using questionnaires and interviews, which make the finding more reliable. However, the sample size was relatively small, it just involving only 60 students. This article connects with the previous studies because emotional factors such as anxiety, confidence, and motivation strongly influence speaking performance in e-eval learning. So for the next article is the influence of listening English songs to improve listening skills in listening class. This article discusses the use of English songs to improve listening skills. The study explains that songs help students improve vocabulary, pronunciation, and listening comprehension while also increasing motivation and emotional engagement. The benefit of this article is that songs provide a fun and low-cost learning method for English classroom. One strength of this article is its practical classroom application supported by interview and literature review. However, the weakness is the small sample size and limited quantitative data. This article connects to the next studies because they also discuss multimedia and music as effective learning tools. So, for the next article is the use of video to enhance the teaching and learning process of listening English. This article explains how videos improve listening lessons. like video combine visual and auditory elements, making learning more interactive, engaging, and easier to understand. The benefits of this article is that video can improve listening comprehension, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar at the same time. One strength of this article is its strong literature review about multimedia learning. However, the weakness is the lack of original experimental research. So this article related to the previous article because both studies emphasize the importance of audiovisual media in language learning. So for the next article is the power of English music to improve students' listening skills. This article discusses how English music significantly improves listening skills compared to the traditional teaching methods. The study found that students who learn through song showed better listening comprehension and higher motivation. The benefits of this article is that music creates enjoyable and engaging classroom activities. The strength of this study is its experimental design using pre-test and post-test comparison between control and experimental groups. However, the weakness is the use of snowball sampling, which may not represent a larger population. So this article continues the discussion about multimedia learning tools as well as especially music-based learning methods. So the next article is the influence of listening English pop songs to improve learners' vocabulary. This article focuses on how English pop song improve student vocabulary mastery. The study explains that repetition and rhythm in songs help students remember new vocabulary more easily. The benefits of this article is that song increase student motivation while making vocabulary learning more enjoyable. The strength of this article is its practical classroom application using real song example and vocabulary classification. However, the weakness is the small sample size and limited focus only on vocabulary skills. So this article supports the previous studies by emphasizing music as an effective and motivating learning medium. So for the next article is BBC Learning English Channel in Listening Skill of eval Classroom. This article discusses the use of BBC Learning English podcast, especially 6-minute English in improving listening skills. The study found that a podcast helps students improve pronunciation, vocabulary, listening comprehension, and understanding of British accent. The benefit of this article is that students can learn independently through authentic English materials. One strength of this article is the use of student real experiences through interview. However, the weakness is the small number of participants and limited qualitative data. The article connects with previous studies because it also highlights the importance of digital and audio-based media in language learning. So, the last article is tertiary students' perspective on English songs and podcasts on Spotify. The last article is discusses students' perspective on using Spotify songs and podcasts to improve listening skills. The study explained that Spotify helps students improve listening comprehension, pronunciation, vocabulary, and motivation because it is flexible and easy to access anytime. So for the benefits of this article is that it introduces modern digital media as an alternative learning platform for English learners. The strength of this article is the comparison between songs and podcasts using questionnaire data. However, the weakness is the limited number of the participants, involving only 10 students. This article concludes the discussion by emphasizing the technology, music, and digital media play important roles in improving student English skills and motivation in eval learning. In conclusion, all the articles show that Successful English learning is influenced not only by language ability, but also by motivation, confidence, anxiety, and learning media. Interactive tools such as TikTok, videos, songs, podcasts, and Spotify can make learning more engaging, enjoyable, and effective for students. As a future educator, we should create supportive learning environments and use creative teaching methods to help students improve their English skills confidently. Thank you for my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.